My name is Aaron Castillo. I'm a student at Brown, currently studying food and identity. I am a senior, so I'm graduating this semester. The project is called Who Has the Seat at the Table and started with my senior thesis project, which was originally supposed to be a sort of community cookbook, but evolved into being more so a historical analysis and telling of histories of communities in Providence that were displaced and have been forgotten from the more public memory that we talk about. In doing this project, I met so many people, and so many people put trust in me to uplift their stories and talk about their histories and their legacies, that I knew doing something outside of the institution was really important to me and to the people I was working with, and to educate and show community members, right, that there is a different side to history, that Providence isn't as whitewashed as we all think it is, and to create a space that was representative of like the real histories of the people who inhabit the city. I think the big starting point of this whole project was learning about Manuel Manna Bernoon, who is also talked about in the exhibit, but he was a formerly enslaved man who was emancipated in the 1730s after his enslaver Gabriel Bernard passed away. And he went on to open the first oyster house, like in Rhode Island, in Providence, and potentially in America. And I couldn't find more information about him, and I spent like a week and a half, right, like really looking and trying to find and going on Ancestry.com and really like trying to track down the genealogy of what happened to him and his family, and there was nothing. And so I think it really pointed that there was so much that I didn't know and so much that so many people didn't know, and right, the fact that Providence being the place it is that capitalizes on this like tourism of colonial ideas, right, like uplifts Roger Williams and simply at the same time, right, negates the histories of Black individuals in Providence. And so I thought it was really important to write something and to do something like this that talks about these histories, especially someone who was so foundational and kind of setting a trend in culture in the state, yet no one talked about. In doing oral histories and talking to individuals who are the descendants of community members who lived in the places I was discussing or lived there themselves, you're able to create a story and to think about, right, like Lippitt Hill wasn't just a rundown community of Black people, but it was the longest and oldest Black neighborhood in Providence that had families and people and lives in a community. And so I think in doing that, you're kind of able to bring light and bring color to these histories that are kind of often portrayed as black and white. I knew I wanted some form of like visual aspect outside of these archival materials, right? Like everybody learns differently, everybody takes in things differently, and I think art is another really great way to tell stories like this. And I didn't want it to come from me, one, because I'm not an artist. I can't draw for the life of me. But two, it was also that there were people who knew Providence better than I did, who had lived here their entire lives and knew how to portray that much better. And so I got to meet Nafis and Dana, who are lovely humans and who are amazing artists and who did amazing work that I think will connect with people more than archival materials or the information on these panels will. And I think that's what was important to me, that people had different touch points and ways to connect with the exhibit outside of the words that were going to be featured in it.